run you through the timeline as we got that breaking news yesterday that Nvidia H200 chips would be going to China. That was according to a couple of reports. We did actually initially see Nvidia shares popping higher, up over about 2%. They came off a bit in the session yesterday. Trump then taking to Truth Social overnight, talking about how indeed the US will allow Nvidia to ship its H200 products to approved customers in China under the conditions that will allow for a continued strong national security. Then we got a report out from the Financial Times suggesting that Beijing is actually, even though we've got the green light now from the US for the H200, might actually limit access of these Nvidia chips to some of these companies in China. That is despite, of course, this decision to allow the export of these H200 chips. So obviously we know that China has really been putting the squeeze on foreign-made stuff coming into the country, trying to limit domestic firms from being able to get their hands on particularly the US stuff, Nvidia chips, basically to try to continue its efforts with its whole self-sufficiency drive and to support local AI chip making manufacturing, at least in China. But it's been interesting, obviously, because when you look across some of the companies that do continue to want to get their hands on the Nvidia stuff, you do hear about certain companies in China that still want them. I suppose the smuggling that we hear about, attempts to try to get Nvidia chips into China, very much, I suppose, goes to show that these Chinese companies, there is still appetite for these products. We've just heard recently that authorities have cracked down on yet another China-linked smuggling network. But it's interesting if you look across some of the analyst calls today. I mean, you've still got Bernstein initiating Nvidia as outperform. This is really just the cherry on top of the icing of the cake, you could say, because remember we got the results out from Nvidia, Nicole, that their results looked good, and that was ex-China. So anything is really being seen as a bonus here if they are able to get these products there. But just remembering the H200 chip is not the H20. This is not the chip that was specifically designed for China. It is more powerful, but it is an older version. And so that's where a lot of the conversation now is centered around, just how much appetite there is for the older stuff coming from China, particularly when you've got the Alibabas of the world racing ahead to try to compete with their own chips now as well.